Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving right into the PBT, polybutylene terephthalate, market report for the fourth week of August 2026. Now, if you're in the trenches trading polymers, you already know that keeping a pulse on these global and regional shifts isn't just helpful, it's literally the lifeblood of your operation. We have some absolutely critical data to get through today, covering everything from intense global feedstock pressures down to very specific regional spot prices. But, before we get completely lost in the numbers, we really need to talk about how you're actually receiving this data in the real world. I want you to honestly think about this for a second. Are you getting your polymer price updates in under 5 seconds? Because in the ultra-fast-paced world of B2B trading, delayed data isn't just an inconvenience, it's a massive vulnerability. I mean, by the time a PDF report lands in your inbox and you actually open it, the market has probably already moved. And we all know that just a fraction of a penny on the pound, or a few rupees on the kilo, can completely wipe out your profit margins. If you aren't getting these updates almost instantly, you're basically operating with one hand tied behind your back. Well, the folks over at Polymer Bazaar actually saw this bottleneck coming and built a bridge right over it. Their whole philosophy, price, prediction, profit, is anchored in the reality that time is quite literally money. And to make that happen, they've taken their massive database of market intelligence and plugged it straight into an app you're already using 100 times a day anyway. Okay, let's just quickly break down why their WhatsApp chatbot is a total game changer. Basically, this thing is designed to give you your time back. First off, you get instant Bazaar data. We're talking real-time pricing, instant revisions, and forecasts zipping straight to your phone in under 5 seconds. Second, company price lists. You can finally stop hunting through clunky supplier portals or scrolling through week-old text threads. The official lists are right there in your chat. And lastly, 24/7 availability. The global markets don't sleep, right? So neither does this tool. Whether you're on the trading floor or just sitting on your couch, you are always plugged in. So the bottom line is that getting this level of intelligence is incredibly easy. If you want to start getting these real-time reports, you just pull out your phone, open WhatsApp, and shoot a message with the letters PBT to +91 93746 24365. That is literally the whole shebang. It puts the entire market right in the palm of your hand. Keep that number handy, actually, because the exact kind of data we're about to jump into is what you could be tracking live through that bot. All right, Section 1, Feedstock Price Drivers. To really understand what's happening with PBT right now, we have to look at the bedrock. Here are the hard feedstock numbers for this fourth week of August 2026. Looking at the prices in RMB, we've got PTA sitting at 63.30 and BDO is commanding a price of 92.50. Now, these aren't just random data points. This represents the baseline cost for manufacturers. And right now, those numbers are applying tremendous upward pressure on overall production costs. So the big question is, how is the rest of the supply chain handling the heat? Let's look at Section 2, Global PBT Market Overview. Starting over in the US Bazaar, prices are currently sitting at 262 cents per pound. But the real story is what's happening beneath the surface. Demand over there has been noticeably dull. But as we just saw, the raw feedstock costs are climbing. So what we're looking at is a classic margin squeeze. Producers are spending more to actually make the PBT, but because buyer demand is so weak, they're having a really hard time passing those extra costs down the line. Jumping across to the Europe Bazaar, the price is holding surprisingly stable at 1,700 euros per metric ton. But again, the underlying dynamics are a bit messy. Demand in Europe has remained totally subdued. And making things even more complicated, import supply has actually gone up. So you have this weird situation where there's plenty of material flooding in, but nobody is really eager to buy it. Yet, despite that glaring imbalance, prices are holding steady, mostly because they're being propped up by those high global production costs we talked about earlier. And over in the China Bazaar, the tension is just palpable. Buying activity was reported as incredibly thin. But because those foundational PTA and BDO costs are so high, manufacturers are really feeling the burn. Because of this, the report notes that ex-works prices could actually go up. Essentially, producers might be forced to hike up their factory gate prices just to survive their own baseline costs, even if the current, very thin buying environment doesn't want to support it. Which brings us to Section 3. Indian PBT Market Assessment. Let's bring this global perspective all the way down to the local spot market in the Indian Bazaar. Spot prices are sitting in an incredibly tight band right now. Down in Mumbai, we're looking at 142 to 143 rupees per kilogram. Up in Delhi, it's just a hair higher at 144 to 145 rupees per kilogram. And keep in mind, those are ex-GST figures. The fact that these prices are completely boxed into such a tiny range actually tells us a lot about the psychology of the market right now. So what is the actual pulse on the ground causing that tight price box? Well, the Indian PBT bazaar was technically mildly active this week, but it was almost entirely driven by selective need-based buying. People aren't stocking up. They are literally only buying what they desperately need to keep their machines running today. Why? Because there's ample availability. When buyers look around and see plenty of supply, there's absolutely zero panic to secure volume. This totally subdued demand is putting a ceiling on market momentum, trapping those spot prices right where they are. Moving to our last part, Section 4, Final Purchase Recommendation. Okay, here is where the rubber meets the road. We've got rising feedstock costs on one side and cautious need-based buying on the other. What happens next? The report hits the nail on the head with this exact quote. Due to dull demand conditions, traders might lower their open bazaar prices. Think about the mechanics here. Traders are sitting on inventory, sweating, while buyers are just dragging their feet. To turn that sitting plastic back into cash, traders might just have to bite the bullet, compress their own margins, and drop their open prices. It is a massive standoff between sky-high production costs and the heavy gravity of low demand. So here is what I want to leave you with today. With global demand acting this sluggish, but production costs steadily rising, are you actually positioned to capitalize on these shifting bazaar prices? If traders do start slashing their open prices just to stimulate some movement, you want to be the very first person to know so you can grab those micro opportunities. And remember, you don't have to wait for a weekly recap to find out. By just messaging PBT to the Polymer Bazaar WhatsApp bot, you can literally watch these shifts happen live 24/7. Stay agile out there, stay informed, and I will catch you in the next explainer.